In recent times, you've been quoted saying that that convertibility and that floating of the Chinese renminbi would take a longer time. You seem quite conservative or reticent in terms of trying.
Well, I think over the years I've learned, not to second guess the central bank or the central authorities. Timing obviously is their choosing entirely, and there are obviously considerations that I may not, or Hong Kong may not be privy to. So I think from that point of view, conservatism is not really conservatism, but really I don't want to predict a timetable out of ignorance.
Right. How would you describe your personal relationships with the CSRC and the exchanges in China?
Very good. We meet regularly, and sometimes in Hong Kong, sometimes within mainland China, and I think we have over the years signed a couple of MOUs. We have a lot of exchange of information.
But those MOUs would be more you give and they take.
No, not really. I mean, we learn from each other, because obviously from our point of view in Hong Kong, because we have so many mainland companies that are common, listed on both, we try to align our regulatory process, by sharing information.
Are you happy with the composition of the overall profile of the Hong Kong exchange in terms of all of the securities listed on your exchange? Would you say that's heavily focused China, heavily focused property? Would you like to see greater diversification, a greater representation of today's economy, more technology companies perhaps? Are you generally satisfied with what you have?
I think for us the main thing is quality companies, irrespective of the sector or industries they are in. And I think as far as Hong Kong Exchange is concerned, over the past 3 years, we have made quite a reasonable effort towards trying to encourage natural resource-based companies to actually come to Hong Kong. Right now, of our total market cap, about 15–16% are natural resource companies, be it mining, coal, energy, gas. So we're getting there slowly, and I think natural resources is one sector where investors worldwide seem to look at the particular sector, be it coal, aluminum, iron ore, or whatever, as opposed to look at where the jurisdictions are.
Why can't some of these other asset classes, why can't they find a second exchange in Hong Kong?
Well, on the face of it, theoretically, we seem to have a monopoly, but in the law books, if somebody applies, it's entirely up to the government whether to grant a license.
Okay, which brings me to the question: how would you describe your relationship with the SFC, and to what extent do you think that an exchange should be self-regulating?
I think we have, I believe, the right balance in Hong Kong. Our relationship with the SFC is one of mutual respect and cooperation. Having said that, I would think that we probably agree on most major issues most of the time. There's the odd occasion when there is the views are not totally aligned, and then we sit down and discuss it, and at the end of the day, they are the agency regulating the market, so they really, and quite rightly, have the final word.
And in terms of your belief, in terms of to what extent an exchange should be self-regulating?
I think we do regulate all the listed issuers.
Yes.
But this is a power that's delegated to us by the SFC.
Yes.
We don't regulate ourselves. The SFC regulate, and so far, issuers and market and investors alike.
You've been a vocal opponent of the dark pools, the electronic exchanges coming on stream right now, and the role that they potentially have in a place like Hong Kong.
I'm very happy you raised that subject. My criticism of dark pools and the alternative trading platforms isn't objection because of fear of competition. I think my objection to dark pools, basically, you can summarize in one line: lack of proper regulation. Lack of proper regulation means that in terms of corporate governance, in terms of transparency, in terms of counterparty risks, and so on and so forth, means that they are actually, we are not playing on a level playing field. And I think in this respect, I'm not the lone voice. The World Federation of Exchanges wrote to the G20 ministerial meeting and say, you know, if you're going to have these alternative trading platforms, let's have proper regulation of them. Let's not just regulate the exchanges heavily, but not the others.
Well, the basic reason they exist is that they exist one step removed from the market itself. So they form communities of their own, and then, you know.
But there's no transparency. There's no you know, there's no sort of, you know, central party clearing, etc., and all that. And you know, I think if you look at the regulators today in the United States and in Europe, they are seriously examining.
Well, the first problem they solve is really liquidity rather than transparency.
No, but it's no point having liquidity if it's, you're unruly, if it's, you know, unregulated, and that in part might be the cause of some of the troubles.
Is it possible that you're able to take the stand that you do precisely because liquidity is not a problem in Hong Kong?
I don't think so, because I think as far as New York is concerned, as far as London is concerned, because of the unlevel playing field, they've had liquidity in those two markets, you know, certainly at the regulated exchange level, fragment and disappear from the exchanges into, you know, the darkness, if I could put it that way.
What is your sense of how competition is going to shape up just on the electronic platform basis?
Well, the rationale for the alternative trading platforms, particularly the dark pool, started off by saying block trading. I'm told now that in the US, the block trading is 300 shares average per transaction.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, unless you're talking about 300, you know, Berkshire Hathaway shares, which might be, you know,
worth your time,
quite a lot of money for the likes of you and I.
Right.
But you know, it's not really block trading as we understood it. I mean, you know, block trading have always existed in the stock market, be it in electronic form or simply by way of jobbers in England and so on. So I think, you know, they seem to have, you know, evolved into, you know, into sort of high frequency trading, you know, taking advantage of the thing. But you see, at the end of the day, there is no consolidated tape on the best prices at the end of the day. So you really don't know what's actually going on in the dark pool. I mean, they're very aptly named dark pool.
What is your sense of the contribution of these new technologies to the exchange business or the transaction business?
I think, you know, in terms of exchanges, when you are offering a service to the public, the reliability of your technology platform is quite important, because if an exchange shuts down because of technology, people can understand that if it happens on the odd occasion. And therefore, you know, there's an awful lot of investment into technology, and it may not be the fastest, but it certainly has to try and be the most reliable. So, you know, whereas, you know, I think in terms of high frequency trading dark pools, speed might be, you know, of the prime essence as opposed to.
But have you seen it affect your market? I mean, have you seen them causing a blip on your in trading?
I think in Asia so far, you know, dark pools haven't really established themselves like they have in Europe and
just 1% or something like that,
and in the US.
Yeah.
I mean, over there they probably have anywhere from, depending on the market, anywhere from 10 to, you know, maybe 15%, which is, you know, quite a sizable,
enough to touch something,
enough to you know, attack the bottom line, so to speak.
Right. Final question: what is your what are you working on in the exchange today? What is your concern for the next 12 months?
I think we are, you know, looking at technology, next generation. We are certainly looking at the clearing, particularly, you know, after the crisis of the last 2 years, where there's a lot of talk about, you know, trying to clear some of the OTC product in central party clearing. And I think as far as Hong Kong is concerned, you know, we don't necessarily have to go it alone. You know, we will be exploring different ways of trying to do that. And clearly, in the meantime, we'll try and grow our business organically, but also in terms of our position, we'll try and preserve it, we'll try and enhance it, and we'll try and deliver the promise that we give to the market, or the perception that we give to the market of a reliable exchange where you can transact business with good liquidity.
RonArculli, thank you so much for spending good time
with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.